Welcome back, you beautiful beings, to the Earth to Marissa podcast. Hello. How are you feeling? Today is a beautiful day. We get to be grateful for at least 5 things today. At least 5 things. Go ahead and think of them. Breathe. 5 things. What are you grateful for today? I know I am grateful for my authenticity. Yes, pop off, sis. Okay, so we're gonna dive in. We're talking about ceremony today. We're talking about creating ceremony in your life or attending ceremonies to just activate and integrate and receive, transform. Ceremony can be anything. It can be many things. But to start off, we have this week's affirmation. I have time and life is beautiful. Oh, amen. I saw this. So me and my bestie have a ritual of meeting up. We are long distance friends, and so we meet up halfway every January, and we create a vision board, whether that's physical, whether that's on Pinterest. It's just a moment to create intention together, and I love this ritual, this ceremony that happens every year. We sit down. This year she brought some questions. I kind of sat down and was just feeling really inspired through Pinterest. So on my phone, I was about to grab my phone, but my phone is right here recording me. So on my phone, I have the little widgets that are like pictures that can scroll. It's like the little square among the apps. And I have mine linked to some Pinterest boards. So I have one that is like manifesting the year. And then I have another one that is like metaphysical. And spirit communicates to me through both of them. I have just set that up in my reality where I receive messages through these little widgets from spirit. They're like angel numbers, but for me, they're pictures. And I've always done really, really well with symbols, which makes sense, channeling a symbol oracle deck right now. And so, yes, I love these. So this year, instead of doing like a physical vision board, I was like, I'm going to create and use this time to make my Pinterest widget. And so that's what I did. And she sat with some questions and we kind of just went back and forth, and it's just such a beautiful ceremony. And ceremony can look like anything, but we'll get into that after the opening thingies. So yes, I have time and life is beautiful. This was on one of the pictures I found on Pinterest, and I had to stop, and I'm pretty sure I grabbed her arm and I was like, oh my god, look at this. It's so beautiful. And it's just this woman who is wearing like I don't know, she looks like she should be in one of the fantasy books that I read. And she looks like a goddess, and her dress is like hanging off her shoulder, and she's like, I have time, actually. I'm pretty sure it says, actually, I have time, and life is beautiful. And this is just for someone who this past year ran themselves into the ground so fucking hard all the time because she felt that she had a rush and she never had time, and she was just going and got burnt the heck out. And this was a beautiful quote. I felt seen, I felt heard, and I felt like, yeah, that's my reality. I choose that right now. I have time for everything. I'm not rushing. No. I create the life where I get to mosey about on my days and enjoy and create and feed my soul. Because I have time and life is beautiful. So that's where we're at with this week's affirmation. And the self-care that I'm doing this week is saying yes. Saying yes. So I'm in my late luteal phase, and usually I'm a big no person when I'm in my late luteal phase and on my period, because, well, as you know, your energy just completely goes away when you're on your period. So I am almost there. But this week I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes to new connections. I'm saying yes to new friends. You know, I have been asking for it. It is being presented and I'm not going to turn it down, okay? Be careful what you ask for because it will show up. And then how are you going to act and respond when it does show up? Because I have definitely asked for things and then it shows up and I'm like, oh shit, I should have like sat with this longer because I don't think this is what I want anymore. I jumped the gun, but it was a lesson and I'm grateful for it. And we get to move forward with that in our tool belt, you know? But yeah, be careful for what you ask for. Because when it shows up, are you going to be grateful for it? Or are you going to be upset because it doesn't meet your expectations? Or are you going to be upset because you're like, oh shoot, I actually didn't want that. Or I didn't take the time to be in a place where I can receive that right now. So I do believe there are no coincidences. There are only synchronicities. However, sometimes it feels like we're not ready and Spirit is like, yeah, you ready. Push off the ledge. But we love Spirit for that because who doesn't love swimming with the sharks? We do learn a lot when we have to immediately start swimming with sharks. But yeah, saying yes. I'm going to a concert that my coworker told me about tonight, and I'm excited. And I asked one of the girlies if they wanted to come, and they're coming. And I was like, am I gonna have enough energy for this? Like all this doubt and resistance started to come up. Okay, like how am I gonna eat dinner? Okay, and then the show starts at 8, goes till 10. I probably won't be home until like 10:30, 11, and I work. And I have to be up at like 7 tomorrow. And all of this resistance. And I was like, you know what? Nope. I have not had a fun night like this with kind of a stranger and surrounded by strangers in a long time. I have not dressed up cute in a long time. And I'm trying to put on a fit. And I'm trying to go dance with some friends. Okay. So I say yes to this. And just other opportunities too that are presenting. When Spirit brings things forward, when the universe brings things forward to you and you're closed off to receiving them, that is a signal to the universe, oh, they're not ready to receive anything. Oh, okay. You have to live up to the person and to the things that you wanted to create in your life in order to keep receiving more. You know, if I was going around saying, yes, I want new opportunities. Yes, I want to grow my community. And then I'm saying no to every new thing that comes my way. Well, the universe is going to be like, oh, she ain't ready. She ain't ready. Let's snooze the timer a little bit more. She ain't ready. No, I am ready. I am ready and I receive. Amen. This week's symbol card is clarity. Clarity card. Soak that in. Soak that symbol in. It kind of reminds me of the Pokemon symbol, if you are listening to this. And by the way, if you are listening to this on Spotify, know that I cut out these little symbol portions of the podcast and post them as like 2-3 minute videos on YouTube. So if you're wondering what these symbols look like, go over to YouTube. They're over there. Yeah, thanks. Cool. Okay, so the clarity card. Beautiful. I wrote down, this encourages you to create space where you can receive clarity. When the symbol comes forward, clarity is here for you where you might think cloud coverage is the only thing you have. So sit in ceremony with yourself and you will receive clarity. This clarity symbol comes in when you need alone time, really. It comes in to support you in getting yourself to a place where you can receive what it is that you want to receive. And if you want clarity on a specific topic, you visualize, draw, meditate with this symbol, and you will receive clarity. Clarity always exists. It's just our ability to perceive the clarity that is available to us. Damn, that was a good quote. Thank you, Spirit. That was fully Spirit-led. So, yes, clarity. Where do you want clarity in your life? Where do you need clarity in your life? And with what Spirit just said, I guess you don't really need it because it's always there. It's kind of like when I was channeling that just now, I got the visual of like the sun and how when it's cloudy outside, the sun is still always present. It's just there's clouds that are blocking it, but if you were to fly above the clouds, you would still see the sun. Mind blown. The first time I realized that as like a young kid, my mind was blown. I was like, oh my God, the sun is still shining. Even though there's no cloud, or even though there's clouds, like what? But yeah, that sun in that analogy is our source, is our connection to source. It's our connection to divinity. It's our connection to our feminine self. It's our connection to our channel, galactic beings, spirit guides, messages. That is always there, y'all. That is always there. We choose to feed that connection or to ignore it. We also choose to create space for that connection or to create no space for the connection. So it's there for you. Use the symbol, check it out. And a crystal, I didn't grab a crystal, but Spirit is saying that crystal quartz would be good for this. It's clear. Doesn't that make sense? It kind of magnifies the symbol and its energy and will go in and kind of penetrate the things that are not benefiting you and creating stagnant energy on receiving clarity. So check that out. Okay. So, alone time. What is ceremony? And I am going to drop into like a pretty big story time here whenever I get to it. Because I recently sat in ceremony with the beautiful Brittany Day, who was on the podcast a couple episodes ago. Definitely go check out her podcast episode. And I attended her beautiful cracked open ceremony. Y'all, when I say beautiful, I mean galactic as shit, powerful as fuck, and truly mind-blowing and altering. This was a completely sober ceremony. There are ceremonies, like plant ceremonies, where people take plant medicine. I am not talking about that. I am talking about a very sober experience and journey that we all had through Brittany's channeling. And like I said, we will get into that, but I wanted to talk about ceremony today. What does ceremony look like? Ceremony can be really anything. You make it, you create it. What feels good to you, and maybe that's your ceremony. Do you enjoy, for instance, I love a hot bath when I'm on my period, and I kind of make that into a ceremony for myself. It's like a once a month hot bath. Maybe I do some Epsom salts, I light an incense or a candle, I bring out my crystals, and I sit with the water, and I sit with my womb space, and I sit with my feminine energy. And that bath is a ceremonial ritual for me. It feels good for me. It lights me up, and it really shows up for me in a time where I need extra support. And that is, to me, what ceremony is all about. It's a place where you can drop in when you need extra support. So yes, this might look like alone time in nature. This may look like new moon or full moon rituals that involve burning or clearing or dropping energetic anchors. And I want to share a practice that I recently learned in one of my monthly groups that I'm in. I'm going to check my notes just so I make sure I tell y'all the correct thing. So, I am a part of Camden's, I am blanking her last name right now, portal group. I follow her on Instagram, so if you want to go to my Instagrams and just type in Camden, she'll pop up. She's a beautiful, radiant being. You'll know the one. And she just, I love this woman so much because she brings forth such tangible and activating tools and ways to work with spirit and also your own energy and the energies that are at play at all times in the universe. Like, you can literally communicate with anything, and I have really come to that understanding working with her. But she mentioned this exercise of dropping the anchors and removing anchors from your being. And this is essentially just energetic clearing, a different way or experience or way of experiencing energy clearings. And it's basically mind, body, emotions. Drop the anchor of experiences that ... So, for instance, mine, in this, when I was learning this, mind, body, emotions. Drop the anchor of experiences that haven't allowed me to feel safe within my body. Mind, body, emotions. Drop the anchor of experiences that are creating... What does that say? Creating contraction in my womb space. I was like fast writing, you know, when you're taking notes and something is juicy and you're just like scribbling to heck. That is what I was doing here. So I could not read contraction. So drop the anchor of the experiences that, or experiences of the sensation of pain and disappointment in my womb. That's a big one. I'm going to repeat that again. Mind, body, emotions. Drop the anchor of experiences from the sensation of pain and disappointment in my womb space. Whew. Felt it. Wow. And you feel it drop. And then at the end you can say, body, show me what the exhale feels like with these anchors being fully dropped. And then you feel that. And then you say, body, I acknowledge that we are no longer holding these anchors. Period. They gone. And that's a moment of ceremony with self. That's a moment of choosing to support yourself in a moment where support is needed. And that's all ceremony is. And that one was really powerful. So, mind, body, spirit. Drop the anchor of experiences that blank, 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 blank. You get to decide. So that's one way of clearing. Another way I really like to clear, let's say I'm kind of upset with someone. I'm holding a lot of energy and it's really affecting my day or my well-being. Let's sit in ceremony. Let's come to ceremony. Let's come to the journal. Let's grab a fire-safe bowl. Let's grab a lighter and a pen. Okay, you're gonna write everything that is on your mind about this person. Get nasty with it. Get so nasty that you would be afraid maybe that anyone else would read this piece of paper. Okay. We don't want to shame ourselves for what is coming up. There's a difference between feeding the egoic and nasty gremlin thoughts than allowing them a space to be fully felt and release. Because the more we resist, persists, and the more we hide this part of ourselves, the louder it gonna get, okay? And so we must just fully be present. If you want to fucking slap a bitch, write that. If you want to cuss someone out, do it in this ceremony. It's a rage ritual, a rage ceremony. And I would say rituals and ceremonies, that, to me at least, those words are in tandem. Same but different. Same but different. Okay. You decide that though in your reality. So after you write all this nasty shit out, okay, you're gonna burn it. And then you're gonna spread those ashes, and you're gonna ask the Mother Earth to please take and cleanse this, and to ground your energy, and to ground your thoughts, ground your emotions, ground your body, ground your spirit into this now moment, and to help you feel safe. And once you feel grounded and once you feel safe, you're going to pick up your pen again, and you are going to write to this person how much you appreciate them, why you're grateful for the experience. You're going to forgive them, and you are going to make peace with the situation that is occurring. And then you're going to burn that paper again and give it to the earth and show gratitude and acknowledge the new version in self that has now been anchored in. You are no longer the person that came to the ceremony. You are the person that is leaving that ceremony. And that's a big thing too with ceremonies and rituals. A big key for me when it comes to these energetic practices, you leave a different person from ceremony. You leave a different person after you have done a ritual. And I guess the difference in my mind between ritual and ceremony is a ritual might not last as long, but also it very well could as a ceremony. So again, you decide. Semantics, we're energy, it don't matter. Yeah, but to me, like when I come to ceremony, I'm looking for support, and I leave a different person because of the magic that takes place. And I want to share this quote too. Potential isn't reached, it's experienced. Potential is not reached, it is experienced. And I bring that up because in order to experience our biggest potential, we have to push ourselves a little. I don't want to say push. We must expand ourselves. And we get to do that through ceremony and through ritual. Because these moments with self, maybe with a group of people, maybe with the trees, these are moments of expansion. These are moments where you get to go inward, where you fully drop and are feeding your now moment from the now moment because you are grounded. It's a place where your fullest potential can be felt. I think in every ceremony I've ever sat in, I always feel my highest connection to Source. And each time I deeply connect into that, I am on the other side expanded. I am a different person. I am grown. I am fully alchemized and shifting. And that potential is experienced through ceremonies, through rituals. It's not a place that you reach in society. It's not a job. It's not a life career goal or a certain amount of money. No, it is experience. Your highest potential is something that you experience. And yeah, you can experience those things for sure. But when we're reaching for it, it's almost like lack is feeding it. You're needing it. If you don't have that, then you will blank. Watch those statements. If I don't have this, then I will not blank. Watch those statements. Because you can have anything, boo. Right now. Right now. You can tap into the experience of being a millionaire right now through the quantum field, through your feelings, through your emotions, through ceremony. Okay. So create, try new things, be the yes person. This week's self-care, be the yes person, and be the person you wish to be right now. I am speaking to millions of people right now. There might only be a blank amount of listeners on my Spotify or YouTube right now, but my energy right now, she talking to millions of people. She talking to like people that aren't even on Earth. Like, what? I am that person, and you are too. And we've reached these states through ceremonies with the self. Don't mind me just tapping the mic. So let's get into the story. This ceremony was beautiful and very much needed. I was very drawn to this in-person event by, again, Brittany Day, Divinity Experiencing. Check her out if you're in the Louisville area. Anytime I sit in container with Brittany, I mean, it is just fucking far out. It's 2 peas in a far out pod, and we are just zooming through the universe, okay? And this one really, so she was describing it as Spirit showed her that there are these sacks in the universe. Stay with me. There are these sacks in the universe that have this information, these codes, this just magical goo that we can basically hook ourselves up to like an IV and get this slow drip of this sack medicine, whatever sack it might be. And I believe that. I mean, I've seen a lot of things in the far out universe, and I believe that there are these magical sacks of information, knowledge, wisdom, healing that we can hook ourselves up to. And so we sit in this ceremony, and it's basically a channeled journey meditation Brittany walks you through. And then once you are in the place of receiving, which I will get to and describe in full detail, you are connected to the sack, okay? You are connected to the sack. And then she went into like this full light language activation. She did light language clearings and energy work over each individual that was receiving this medicine. And then we were brought back to life, brought back to earth, and we embodied it through dance, which was so beautiful. And such a beautiful note to add: when you are doing energy work, the best way to really anchor it into your reality is to embody it. To embody it is to feel it in your body. So it's good to maybe you tap after you do a ceremony or a ritual. Maybe you dance like we did to get it in your body. Maybe you go for a run, or like a really good place I've found to embody information and codes is through yoga. Stretching my body and letting it fully flow in as I move. And it was interesting because as we were dancing afterwards, embodying the information, I was actually drawn to do a bunch of yoga poses. So we're all moving our bodies, and I'm over here in fucking crow pose. No, not crow pose. That's not what I meant to say. Pigeon pose. Just stretching it out, integrating. And another way to embody it is through vocals. Vocals, chanting, just tribal sounds, whatever feels good. Maybe it's through light language. Maybe it's through singing. That was beautiful. So embodiment is the way to integrate the medicine and fully embody the new version that you are when or after you have sat in ceremony. Okay, story time. Let's go. So we are there. I'm laying down on my mat, just getting ready, and Brittany starts moving us through this beautiful meditation. And at first, we kind of exit our bodies and we go up this beautiful light portal and meet our higher selves. And our higher self, my higher self, I first saw this giant, like, Aztec statue, kind of looked like a monkey, kind of looked like a giant, like, Aztec being / Buddha, sitting cross-legged with its hands open. And I was like, are you my higher self? Like, whoa. I was just like, wow. And I think it's really just the ancient knowledge and information and like soul wisdom that my higher self holds. And so this big statue picked me up in its hand and brought me to its heart space. And I was just sitting there in a meditative pose, and then my higher self appears sitting in the same meditative pose. And she, oh, beautiful. She's just this very tall, slender, white, glowing outfit, body, hair. Her eyes are very petite, but she like a giraffe woman. She very tall, very slender, kind of in like long flowy sleeves, long dress vibe, but it's white, and she is just beautiful and radiating such harmonious energy. And we start traveling through the galaxies together. And Brittany leads us through just this array of like sledding over mountains and through the galaxy, and then we are at this like seeing this fireball, and we shoot through the fireball, and in the fireball there's this beautiful like serene grassy area that has lights. And as we're walking we then fall into this dark pit, and we like stumble upon and fall into this like goo, and then there's like a lion tiger creature, and it's just we are getting to the sack. That's what it is. We are navigating the universe to this sack of information that is for us. And this sack of information ended up being this beautiful like cave hut teepee thing. And as I walk in, there are crystals all over the walls and light language symbols. And of course, for me, I'm a symbol girl. I was just like, oh my God, like this is magical. And I'm like visualizing all this through my third eye. And so I lay down, and my higher self is at my head. And I'm gonna go to my notes just to make sure I'm not missing anything, because this is wild, let me tell you. So I'm laying there, and Brittany starts the light language activation. And as I'm laying in this beautiful hut surrounded by crystals and light language, I immediately feel connected to the magic that this portal holds. And it is flowing through me, and it is coming in through light language symbols and also light language. Like I'm talking light language in my head at this point, just kind of speaking it to myself. And I see all of these glowing light language symbols, just galactic symbols flowing into my body fully. And it was interesting because my intention for this ceremony was to really embody my feminine spirit. This year, I want to embody my feminine spirit. I want to listen to her, to flow, to create space and time for myself after this past year of just living so deeply in my masculine, wounded masculine. And so I'm ready to set that down, and I'm ready to create and flow and be fluid and just create so much magic, channel a book, continue channeling and publishing my oracle deck. I am just so ready for that. And so the fact that all of these symbols were coming through, like, we're about to get heavy downloads on the rest of the symbols for this deck. So light language, symbols coming through. And then as my whole body was flooded with this light, all of these symbols on my body, so at first it went head to feet, and then from my feet, all of these internal symbols just like started activating and working their way up my legs and fully coming into my knees, into my womb, and then my hands started, and it's just moving up my body, fully activated, and just like fully lit, y'all. I was fully lit at this point. Just like sitting in this and being flooded with this beautiful sac energy. It was truly magical. And my higher self was assisting with this flow. She was touching my third eye at this point and just activating it, and almost like I get this visual a lot in meditation or in ceremony or when I'm deep in a meditative state. It's my higher self, and she puts her thumb on my third eye, and it's kind of this charging. It's as if like you took a cigarette to a cigarette lighter, like just like burning and activating and clearing and downloading, like plugging the flash drive in is what it feels like. And as she was doing that, I'm just feeling like floaty, kind of out of body, and I see my Arcturian friends arrive. If you don't know what Arcturians are, they are a galactic species, and they kind of look like your typical alien, I guess. Not the like large head, small body. No, these are like the long, slender bodies, blue aliens with a large cranium and huge like black eyes. And so to me this felt like so I do a lot of work with the Arcturian High Council of 6, and to me it felt like they were here, but they were facilitating it and brought through like their highest and best healers. They were really with me at this time. And actually before this, I'm jumping the gun. So before this, my higher self is putting her hand on my third eye, and I see these, like right after I receive all those symbols, I see these 7 ancestors come in, which is so divine that it was the number 7, because this ceremony was happening on the night where 7 planets were completely aligning. I'm pretty sure it was 7 planets that were in a row, completely aligned. Brittany didn't even plan that to be that night. It just so divinely happened. So 7 planets are in a line. 7 ancestors are coming forward for me, and there were 7 people in the ceremony. 777, spiritual awakenings, the most spiritual number that you could get, divine source connection, God frequency, 777. That just blew my mind. So these 7 ancestors are around me, and they're all women, and this like black portal to my womb kind of opens up, and they all grab, like, if you know a magician hat, how they're like pulling the string or the ribbon, whatever it is, out of the hat, and it just keeps going and going and going. That is what they did to my womb space, y'all. They were pulling out these ribbons. Each one had a ribbon, and they just kept pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling until all of them were gone, and it was just an open womb space. And that was wild to me, because I had also set the intention to just receive and release whatever I am meant to. And Spirit, on the way down to Louisville, when I was driving, I saw 999 3 times. 999 to me is death and rebirth. I saw 333 twice, which is angel support and just high, like, whenever I see 333, it means this is happening in your highest alignment. And then I saw 111, which is like creation, new version of self. And with the 333 symbol, one of the messages that I received was that I was going to be doing a ton of releasing in this ceremony. And it wasn't necessarily Marissa releasing stuff. It was like Marissa's higher self releasing things for this version of Marissa, the person that you are experiencing right now talking. Like, I am releasing so many things from my body that come from other galactic lifetimes, that come from ancestors, that, like, so much and huge, massive releases happening for my soul through my body. And so, yes, these ancestors just fully came in and did their thing, and then they were like blessing my womb space, and then the Arcturians come in. And when the Arcturians get there, I'm like, hell yeah, what's up, family? What's up? I love seeing you. I'm so grateful for you. And I kind of like had a moment of like, oh my God. Kind of like when you're falling asleep and you're sitting up and you kind of have that like jolt moment of like, oh, did I just fall asleep? I kind of had that when the Arcturians came in, because I was just like so far, like I was just floating, and then they started to like work on my body, and it like brought me back down, and like it was kind of like if someone like gasped and like sat up and was like, oh, like, you know, it was kind of that energy, which I thought was interesting. But then they reassured me, like, you're safe, we're just doing work here, don't mind us, like, you just released a lot and we're continuing that maintenance. So they literally start cutting at my body, like scalpel, doing surgical removal on my body. They removed and replaced what felt like my entire right side of like my hip and womb space, and also my right leg. Like, there was so much being held in the right side, waist down of my body. And I saw them like fully remove it and then fully replace it, which is pretty sick and pretty wild. And I've heard of actually other stories where galactic beings have replaced body parts for humans. Pretty wild. So that is still integrating in my body. And who knows, like, this could just be visuals that I needed to see in order for the medicine to take place. But I do actually believe that something occurred, you know, like they were actually doing stuff to my physical body, even though I was somewhere deep in the universe in a sack receiving this medicine. And this is why I wanted to share this story, because, like, holy shit. And so they were, just helping me and supporting me and cutting at other parts of my body. And at this point too, my higher self was actually cutting away things from my third eye and cutting away this baggage and these like veils and these like black squares from my third eye, and fully rubbing my third eye with this like almost like a laptop cleaner, like a little circle plush thing that like kind of wipes it down and clears it out. She was fully removing everything from my third eye so I could clearly see. And as she was doing that, the galactic guides started to come in, and more showed up at this time. So I felt Lyrans, I felt Andromedans, I felt these, and saw these other ones. I don't have names for them. Sorry. I don't have names. But I do know they were very present with whatever was happening. And to me, these new ones showing up felt like versions of me. They felt like soul families, like they were with groups of, like they all came in like 3 or so, but they all like held a part of me, which was very interesting. And when I say me, I mean my soul. They all like felt like they were connected to my soul in a deep way. And they all started to touch my womb space, my heart, and my mind. And I mean, at this point too, that energy, that IV that I was hooked up to at the beginning, from the sack, was just flowing, and like energetically it literally felt like my body was being filled up with water, or like energy, like from the top to the bottom, fully flowing. And they had, yes, their hands on my womb space, my heart, and my mind, and they were fully rebalancing the connection between all three, the sacredness between all three, the communication between all three, and like fully bringing them into balance and harmony. And this was beautiful to experience. When I tell you I have never experienced something like that, I have never experienced something like that. I've experienced a lot of like far out meditations and visuals and stuff, but like the energy that I was experiencing in that moment, holy cow. So they were rebalancing those systems and clearing, and then I immediately heard, and at that point their hands almost started to suck. Like instead of giving and holding the space, they were starting to take from my body, but take the things that my body was releasing. And so they were like taking all of that, and I heard the release is beginning. And I was like, okay, word, got it. I'm just gonna lay here. And just as I was releasing, I was hearing the words of like what was being released, but then I was like, yo, mind, we don't have to label that. Let's just let it happen. But I mean, I don't necessarily want to speak on what was released because I don't really want to feed it or attach myself to it. But let's just say like, holy cow, like things I can't even imagine. Like famine was one of them, but just like horrible lifetimes that I realized after the release were those galactic beings. Those were the parts, those were the versions of my soul that were experiencing those things that my body was releasing, if that makes sense. So all of these galactic beings that I was seeing, that felt like they had a part of my soul, it's because they are versions of my soul who were releasing from my body the weight and the density that their lifetimes have created for myself in this lifetime. And so as they were releasing that, I'm still just receiving energy, and then I feel this like weight lift off. I'm like, wow. Like that was just so much. And I'm pretty sure at that point, Brittany was over me, which is so divine that she literally came over to me to do the energy cleansing at that moment when I was releasing, and she was doing that. And afterwards we like touched base on all of our experiences, and I was telling her about this release, and she was like, holy shit, when I was over you, like I felt like I needed to pull stuff out of your womb space. And I like jaw dropped. I was like, what? Like, no way. That's wild that spirit was having you do that while I was experiencing this like massive release. And so yes, the release happened, And then again, I feel this like surge of IV drip come in, and this energy is just dripping and pouring into my body fully. And the galactic beings that are around me, they start to then integrate this light energy into me. And what I realized was it was the, positive experiences, the wisdom, the soul magic, the highest and best codes that they received from those individual lifetimes, and they were integrating that within me fully. And this is what I was receiving from the sack, y'all, is the higher frequencies from these other galactic lifetimes, from other versions of myself as galactic beings. And that's what I'm receiving, and that is what I'm integrating. Not only was it symbols, I received so much from this, but that was a really big thing. They were able to integrate back into me, but no longer holding density. It was almost like they removed themselves from my body, released a bunch of shit, and then put their higher selves back into my body. And when I say higher selves, I mean higher frequency version of themselves, not their higher self. Because their higher self is my higher self, ? I don't know. And so I'm radiating and pulsating, and as these galactic beings start to kind of fade, before they go, they put this giant light bubble around me, and I mean, it is just pulsating, like a heartbeat. It is just pulsating. And this TP, if you were to see a tent at night with flashing lights inside, that is what it looked like. I got a glimpse from the outside, and it's just pulsating light, and fully integrating and soaking all of that in. And I just felt weightless. I felt so weightless after that. And my higher self was just kind of re-energizing me and just clearing the last bits. And then I was just kind of alone, radiating in this bubble. And then Brittany's voice came back in and was like, all right, let's go back. It's time to go back. And I'm just whoa. What? And so we leave the hut TP cave, and we journey back to our bodies. And when I say I slithered back into my body, girl, I straight up slithered back into my body. And slithered made me remember this very important part. So after the ancestors were clearing my womb space, and the Arcturians were kind of doing their thing, and then they were done with the surgical procedures that were happening, there was this snake that was coiled in my womb space that completely straightened inside my body, and its mouth was my third eye. Just a little extra note that I forgot to mention. So Kundalini AF. And snakes were also present for other people in the room, which I thought was very interesting. But that ceremony was insane. And so after the ceremony, we danced our little hearts out for probably 15-20 minutes, and it was fantastic. Just shaking your body so much, making the sounds that you wanted to make. Sitting in ceremony with other people is really divine and absolutely gorgeous. And if you want to sit in ceremony with other people, set the intention that when you do sit in ceremony with other people, that those people are there as well in divine timing. They are there in alignment with you, and are of similar frequencies, because that just makes all the difference. And that's exactly what we had that night. All of the women there were just I felt like I had known them, and that was just beautiful how that lined up. And just shaking your body feels so good. And if you want to have a small ceremony with yourself, just make a playlist sage yourself, and then dance and move your body, and don't let yourself stop until that last song plays, and that is ceremony. And sit down, do a guided meditation, and then dance afterwards. That's what we did. And I pulled so Brittany had tarot cards at the end as well. And so I pulled the Sun tarot card, which just means success. It means creation. It's the bright light. Like, you are in the divine, like, embodiment of your creator, of your solar plexus, of your sacral. And that was just so affirming to me, especially too because I was gonna try and reach, but they're a little too far away. I did a tarot reading for myself, and I drew the Star card and the Sun card like a little while ago, and that literally made me cry because, y'all, I have been through it, and those are two major arcanas that come after turmoil and come after, deep agony and just shit. Okay, the tower falls, the devil appears, like all this crap, and then the star is there and the sun comes after, and it's beautiful. It just like really marks this era of self in this new chapter that is occurring, and I'm so excited, so excited for it. And I hope you enjoyed this story time and these messages about ceremony. Ceremony can absolutely and completely change your life, and I hope you are able to sit in ceremony with yourself or with someone else and tap into your highest potential. You can literally just sit in meditation and say, Spirit, higher self, please connect me into my highest potential in this present now moment, and you will experience it. You will experience it. And after that ceremony with self, you are a different person, completely different person. Much love. Enjoy the clarity card again. Allow this clarity and allow time to integrate as well. Thank you, Spirit, for this reminder. Integration is so important. It's along the lines of embodiment. Integration is what really helps the medicine stick. The codes fully come into play and become active in your life and within you, so you can create with them or share them or, be that little starseed that you are with all these galactic codes. Integration is important. Hydration is important after integration or through integration. Sleep is very important. I have had some wild dreams since then, and I have felt the IV continue to pour in. But self-care and moving slow is definitely good for integration, and just doing the things that light you up. Continuing to be the new version that was created through the ceremony. Alrighty, I hope you have a beautiful freaking week. If you are in need of support, or you want to, have a guided meditation so you can sit in your own ceremony, I do that. I film and channel meditations and personal light language activations for you. The link is in the description on my website. There are new prices, so check those out. And yeah, I would love to help you sit in ceremony with yourself. Just let me know. And until next time, bye for now. Peace, love, and blessings.